Well, hello there everybody. This is a little bit of a quick video, but a hopefully fairly important one. Now, some of you may already be aware that I'm working with the new Microprose team on their upcoming game, currently in its last few days on Kickstarter if you're watching this at the time of release or shortly thereafter, Task Force Admiral, which aims to put you in the shoes of great admirals such as Halsey, Fletcher and Spruance, as they try and stop the Imperial Japanese advance across the Pacific, although I suppose further on in development you could try and expand the glorious Empire of the Rising Sun instead. How is this to be done, you might ask? Well, it's all done here via the user interface. The idea is to give you as close to what it would have been like to actually command a carrier task force without, putting you on an actual carrier and giving you a staff of several dozen people and so on and so forth. There have to be some considerations for the fact you're just one guy behind a computer screen. And what you're going to do is find yourself planning out pretty much everything there is to do in order to get carrier aircraft to their target. So you're going to have to tell your fleet where it is you want them to go relative to the weather. You're going to have to plan and schedule your scouting missions first in order to find where the enemy is, as well as working out the size and composition of your strike groups and getting them all up on deck ready to go for when you have a target. You'll also have to plan out your combat air patrol and decide when and where everything is going to be launched. Meanwhile, of course, the enemy is going to be trying to do exactly the same thing back to you, so do remember your combat air patrol, and then watch everything unfurl as hopefully you get your strikes in on the enemy and you either evade or defeat their strikes on you. Just remember to read the manual before you start playing the game. This is like an old school game that you'd get in a nice big box back in the day. So a quick read through to work out what each screen does and what exactly it is you're planning is highly advisable. But there's more. Remember those old school games often included lore? Well, myself, Chris from Military Aviation History, and the Warshipologist are all cooperating accurate information about the ships, the aircraft, and the general history behind the Pacific campaign, what led up to it, and how it was fought. And all of that will be included in the manual. Both digital and old school style physical copies are available, and all the information that the three of us are putting in will be available in both formats. There's also a free demo. Remember those? Yeah, there's one of those on Steam if you want to go and check it out and get a feel of how the current build plays before you commit to anything. And of course you might notice the rather teasing title of Chapter 1 embedded in all of this because of course the team do intend to follow up to include more ships, more aircraft, and more sections of World War II. So if you think you can do better than the historical World War II admirals, or you want to understand just how difficult a job they had, or you just want some really cool cinematics of various ships blowing up, then I encourage you to give it a shot. And in case you're wondering, no one's making me code anything, everyone's playing to their strength. The guys who are actually building the game, they're the ones who know the coding, they're doing that bit. I'm providing the historical background from a naval perspective, but I've also played the demo a little bit, and well, I've had a fair bit of fun with it. Although I do have to confess, in my first run through, while I was thinking I might be able to pull off something vaguely Midway-ish or Coral Sea-ish like this, as you can see here, as is after all the mission that you're given in the demo is in fact the Battle of the Coral Sea, I made the mistake of only partially reading the manual first time out, and slightly misjudged exactly how close I was getting to the Japanese. So just before dawn, before any aircraft could actually be launched, I heard General Quarters sirens, popped into the 3D view, and was treated to this. Yes, this is the Lexington, and yes, there is something on fire on the horizon, and yes, there's something disturbingly close. Yeah, it was one of the Shikakus. I'd somehow managed to sail my entire fleet straight into the Japanese fleet before any of us could launch a single aircraft. And so yes, the Battle of the Coral Sea, historically the first ever carrier battle in history, was a service gunfight between Shikaku, Suikaku, Lexington and Yorktown. The poor aircraft pilots were very, very confused because Their takeoff and circle radius was actually larger than the knife fight radius that the carriers were shooting at each other at. But, you know, practice makes perfect, I suppose. So if you want to give that a shot, although I must stress the actual surface warfare component of the game hasn't been fully implemented yet, which I'm sure is going to give the developers kittens when they see this particular section of the video, well, you know, have at it. And hopefully you'll achieve results that look a little bit more like this and a little less like someone forgot that Lexington wasn't actually a battlecruiser anymore. Thanks for listening, folks. Bye for now.